Hello, my name is Thomas Miller, and we're here today to talk about Dole Food Company's operations, specifically creating shared value in Costa Rica in the banana operations. Dole was a publicly traded company until 2013 when our CEO, David Murdoch, decided to acquire the outstanding stock and go private. In 2013, the last year financial statements were readily available. Dole had $4.2 billion in revenue, but had a net income loss of $1.44 million. This was due to the company buying back all the outstanding stock to go private. Dole is the largest producer of fruits and vegetables in the world. They operate in 90 countries to fulfill their worldwide demand. Their operations in the United States, Mexico, Honduras, Costa Rica, Chile, South Africa, and Spain serve the American and European markets. Dole markets such food items as bananas, pineapples, grapes, strawberries, salads, and other fresh and frozen fruits and juices. Next, let us discuss specifically Dole's banana operations. Dole grows and sources from independent growers and transports bananas grown primarily in Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Guatemala, and Honduras for markets principally in North America, Europe, the Mediterranean, and selected Asian markets. Dole owns roughly 26% of the world banana market, which places them in second place. Because we are going to be discussing how to create shared value in Costa Rica, I believe it's important to learn more about the country before we move on. According to visitcostarica.com, although the country is small and it covers only 0.03% of the surface of the globe, it proudly shelters 5% of the existing biodiversity in the entire world. 25.58% of the country is composed of conservation and naturally protected territory. Costa Rica is also an attractive country for investment, and it offers great potential for the establishment of important multinational companies, thanks to the outstanding academic level of its population, as well as the high standard of modern services and social and political stability. Costa Rica's banana production. Production grew constantly during the 1990s, and prices remained steady. Exports for 1994 through 1999 averaged 2,045,000 metric tons with revenues of $624 million US. This represented almost twice the revenue generated by their coffee operations. It is also the second largest producer in the world with an annual crop of approximately 115 million boxes sold in the United States and Europe. Growers estimate that their industry generates over 40,000 direct jobs and 100,000 indirect jobs. Also of note, workers in the banana production enjoy the highest salaries and benefits in Costa Rican agricultural sector. This is according to Costa Rica Information.com. Costa Rica's economic system can be best described as being a mixed economy. Hill and Holt define a mixed economy as being certain sectors of an economy are left to private ownership and free market mechanisms, while other sectors have significant state ownership and government planning. This is true in Costa Rica. The current economic state of Costa Rica has them growing 4% per year from 2010 to 2015. Foreign investors remain attracted by the incentives that are being offered in the free trade zones throughout the Americas. Agriculture accounts for 6% of their GDP, and bananas are the most important crop that it produces. As a matter of fact, bananas are the number one commodity export for Costa Rica. Costa Rica's political system can be classified as a democracy, or more accurately, a presidential republic. As a matter of fact, they are the oldest democracy in Latin America. Like the U.S., they have 3 branches of government, and all citizens can vote at the age of 18. Costa Rica legal system. As noted by Geralt, the Costa Rican judiciary was created in 1821 and has been functioning ever since. The Costa Rican legal system can be classified as a Romano-Germanic style of law. It closely follows the civil law system and the positive Roman school of thought. The civil law model sees crime as an offense against the state rather than an individual. The state assumes the role of investigator as well as arbitrator. According to Remax, unlike some of the other countries, foreigners have the same right when purchasing land in Costa Rica as locals do. You can own property outright in your own name or in the name of your corporation. You do not need a local partner except in the cases of beachfront concession property, where special rules apply. Hill and Holt say strong legal protection of property rights is another requirement for a business environment to be conducive to innovation, entrepreneurial activity, and hence economic growth, which fortunately Costa Rica has. Costa Rica's social and cultural systems. Robinson wrote, Costa Rica has placed much emphasis on education, allowing for a free public school system for young adults and children to attend. The effects of this love affair with education have been socialization of citizens, democratization, and social mobility. The Roman Catholic faith is the predominant in Costa Rica, although many partisans see membership as an obligation and not a moral commitment. The church has very little political power, though the church and government are on good terms and have in the past worked together, as Catholicism had been the official religion at one point. The upper class, which makes up about 2% of the population and 20% of the national income, can be traced back to some of the first colonists as well as nouveau rich. The middle class is a result of colonial era when independent farmers dominated the population and resulted in an upper middle class, with 5% of the populace and earning 10% of national income, as well as lower middle class, with 15% of people and 18% of national income. The working class makes up about 50% of the population and earns about 45% of the national income. Finally, the lower class, 25% of the populace, earns only 7% of national income. These statistics reveal a very unequal distribution of wealth, with the top 10% of society earning roughly 1/3 of the national income and the bottom 10% only earning 5% of total income. This society admires hard workers when the favorite character is not the aristocrat conquistador, but the independent, middle-class peasant who works his own land, is servant to none, and the master of himself. Costa Rica's global trading strategy. In the 1980s, Costa Rica had adopted a new approach towards economic development and began to award importance to foreign investment and international trade as engines for economic growth. According to the WTO, Costa Rica has improved access to its already generally open market, particularly for goods, has reduced the average tariff to 7%, and has adopted an export-oriented strategy based on tariff and other fiscal concessions. This strategy has contributed to the rapid but variable economic growth, according to a WTO report on the trade policies and practices of Costa Rica. Costa Rica's financial policies. According to the World Bank, Costa Rica's sovereign bond ratings are among the best in the region. This good performance has been anchored on a stable policy environment, with fiscal and monetary policies having avoided stop-go patterns, and a high and growing integration into the world economy. A stable political system with a long democratic tradition, generally effective institutions, relatively low income inequality, a burgeoning middle class, and a strong education system has also contributed to a favorable environment for growth. The financial sector is deep relative to other countries in the region, and though centered on banking intermediation, increasingly diversified. It is organized around financial groups, Gross assets of financial institutions reached 72% of GDP in June 2001, which is high by Latin American standards. While banks account for the lion's share of financial sector assets, investment funds have grown rapidly in recent years as a result of reforms that have clarified the legal and regulatory framework and created a privately administered second pillar pension system. Banks' activity has increasingly focused on lending to private sector, while assets of investment funds have concentrated nearly exclusively in government debt securities. A summary on Costa Rica. Their economic system is a mixed economy. They are a democracy. Their legal system is based on civil law. They place great emphasis on education, and they have strong family values. Their strategy for global trading is they're open to foreign investment and trade. And their financial policies are strong because of a stable fiscal and monetary systems. Creating shared value. What is shared value? The concept of shared value can be defined as policies and operating practices that enhance the competitiveness of a company while simultaneously advancing the economic and social conditions in the communities in which it operates. The first CSV I want to discuss is improved farming techniques, specifically water recycling. But first, let's discuss the water requirements for banana cultivation. According to the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, since a depletion of total available soil water in excess of about 35% during the total growing period is harmful to the growth of fruit production, frequent irrigation is important. The irrigation interval can be anywhere from 3 days under high evaporative conditions in light soils up to 15 days under low evaporative conditions in high water retaining soils. As you can imagine, the price of watering the crop is a large cost of farming. But by using water recycling, we can lower the cost by capturing runoff water and discharged water from other functions in the processing plant and reuse it to water the crop. An added benefit on top of the saving the company money is helping the environment, because currently most of the discharged water goes directly into existing water supplies, i.e. rivers, ponds, etc., and this is harmful to the environment. This process doesn't only stop further pollution of the environment, but it also can be used to create or enhance wetlands and riparian habitats. The second CSV I want to discuss is increasing the practice of a harvesting technique of using a belt line to carry the bananas in from the field, instead of manually carrying the bananas. Because we already use this technique on some of our farms, I recommend to use this practice on all of our farms, and also to encourage our local co-op suppliers to use it as well. This will be a benefit to Dole by increasing productivity while reducing waste. Each banana stalk weighs roughly 65 pounds. If the harvester carries the stalk in from the field, a larger portion of the fruit becomes bruised and therefore waste, because the company cannot sell the damaged fruit. Also, the energy that is needed to carry the large quantities of fruit from the field to the processing plant will take a toll on the employees, and they will slow down, reducing their productivity over the course of the day. But with the use of the beltline system, the fruit is no longer exposed to the damage from hand carrying, and the reduced physical stress on the laborers allows them to be more productive throughout the day. Of course, the added benefit to the employees is there is significantly less physical stress put on their bodies, which will allow them to live longer and healthier lives because their bodies will be saved from the undue stress. The second CSV I want to discuss is organic farming. I found an interesting quote by Myers. He states, "No current agricultural systems are sustainable. The use of fossil fuels is not sustainable. Farming where fertility and crop protection are based on any input of artificial fertilizers and pesticides is not sustainable. Organic farming is not sustainable either. What organic farming can reasonably claim is that the system is based on achieving and maintaining both soil fertility and healthy crops and farm animals, though mechanisms which are currently more sustainable than any other systems, and which have the potential to be truly sustainable in the future. Organic farming is based on values which embrace the concept of sustainability, however imperfect their current practice is. Dole is currently not receiving any organic bananas from Costa Rica. I believe this is a missed opportunity. If we don't move forward to start producing organically, even if it's on the small scale initially. Joe Citran writes that the results from the long-term study from Rodale Institute on organic farming shows that it's actually cheaper to grow organically than conventionally. The cost savings are seen through savings from not having to procure synthetic fertilizers. As a matter of fact, according to the study, organic farms are almost twice as profitable as conventional ones. You might ask, if that's the case, why organic foods are more expensive than conventional foods. It's because of supply and demand. The supply levels of organic foods are low, and the demand is high. Another benefit for Dole is that the land will be more sustainable and be able to be farmed for a longer period of time. Citran writes, the other key divide between the two systems was related to soil health. Conventional agricultural systems rely on crude oil-dependent artificial fertilizers for the soil's macronutrient content. This means that, unlike organic systems, they do not support the soil's microbiological community, which can produce the same macronutrients without the use of crude oil. So when oil supplies start to run out, conventional farms will be left without a reliable way to maintain their soil's macronutrient base, while organic farm soil will be virtually unaffected. The same macrobiological community also helps organic soil retain water, which fights erosion and drought. There are a number of benefits for the community if Dole moves more towards organic farming. First, chemicals will no longer be used to control pests, and those same chemicals will no longer seep into the groundwater that locals use for personal use. Studies have been conducted that have linked the pesticides used in banana farming to actually making men sterile, leaving them unable to have children. There have been lawsuits brought against multiple banana-producing companies for this very reason. Therefore, by eliminating the use of chemicals, you will do less harm to the environment and also improve the health of the workers. In summary, Dole can create shared value for themselves and the people and environment of Costa Rica by implementing the 3 CSVs of water recycling, using a beltline and harvesting, and move to more organic production. Also, Costa Rica is a perfect country to increase Dole's investment in, as they are both stable economically and politically, and their legal system is fair and just.